Welcome back, everyone. Is it possible to heal severe psoriasis? I'm talking where you have to leave your job, it affects your marriage, it may affect your driving, it may affect the clothes that you wear, and how you feel on a daily basis. Well, that was how it was. That was a direct experience one of my clients had several years ago. And we reversed, healed, treated, removed, got rid of, cured, whatever you want to call it, psoriasis. He did it himself with my help as a guide, and we did it primarily with mind body medicine. Now, this client was in his 60s, was loving his position as a pastor, but had for several years before he finally just said he went out on disability and said, that's it. He had to give his sermons seated in a chair. He had to wear tent-like clothing because the bulk of his psoriasis, oh, the lights really went down, excuse me, let me turn this on. The bulk of his psoriasis was around his abdomen, so he had to wear very tent-like clothing and shirts. And he'd already tried everything. He'd already tried methotrexate. He'd already tried all the prescription drugs that the pharmaceutical companies love to throw out. He'd had a regular PCP, primary care physician. He'd had been referred to a specialist dermatologist, and he had paid out of his pocket a couple $100s or several $100s a month to see a naturopathic doctor who had a nice office here in Duluth, Minnesota. Additionally, he also gave my card to those three PCP, dermatologist, and naturopathic doctors and said, look, I'm cured. I don't have psoriasis. I'm so happy. I can wear normal clothes. I'm going to call my wife, my ex-wife now, because she's got health issues, and she called me on the phone, but she never pursued them in the future. And I'm here to tell you that after 20 years in Minnesota, working with hundreds of people with all different sorts of issues, none of them have ever called me on the phone. In fact, the CEO of Cloquet Memorial Hospital has said, you can't come in here with your smoothies and shakes and your massages and all your stuff like that. And I said, you know what? That was really a very condescending comment, because that is definitely not what I offer. And in this case, what we did for this particular client with psoriasis that was so severe that it had affected his job, his partner, his driving, his mobility, the clothing he could wear. He was in pain. He was tired. He was just frustrated and tired from suffering all the time. So I agreed, since he couldn't drive, to come from Cloquet to Duluth at that time and to meet him at a local cafe where we could kind of tuck into a little nook and talk a little bit, because not knowing him, I didn't want to meet him at his home. First time for a man. And we talked, and I said, why don't you tell me your story? And as he was doing that, I'm not just actively listening, carefully listening, but I'm taking note. Maybe I'll bring a notepad with me, and I might take 2 or 3 little notes, but most of it I'm keeping in here. I'm reading the lines on the face. I'm looking at the eyes. I'm looking at the speech. I'm listening to the speech. I'm looking at the earlobes. I'm looking at the skin. I'm looking at the energy, the frequency, and the vibration of the individual, which is something I've been doing for over 60 years. From the time I was a little girl, and my grandmother taught me to notice those things, to go out into nature, to explore, to expand, instead of just, oh, you've got psoriasis, bam, we're going to give you methotrexate. That's what we give everybody. We're going to have you see the dermatologist. You go in there, and there's a $300 bill to your insurance company. And, oh, yep, you've got psoriasis. We'll give you a cream for that. We'll give you a pill and a cream, and, So for years and years, this particular client was treating with a primary doctor, a dermatologist, and a naturopathic doctor. The naturopathic doctor had already a long time ago heard about me and the work that I was doing. This is not about gloating. This is not about getting a big fat head. I never made much money. People constantly, and I still hear it today, oh, I really can't afford that. I can't afford those appliances. I can't afford to see you like that with the rate that you charge. I can't afford that. But in the next breath, they're handing their children money. They're buying a new ATV. They're getting expensive appliances for their home. They're going on a great vacation all the time, but they don't have the money. They can't afford to take care of their health. They can't afford to sit down and learn about the care and maintenance of the human vehicle, the body that you live in, that you're going to have, that you're going to rent for a period of time, that you're going to occupy for a period of very specific period of time. And it may be a short time, it may be a long time. Okay? Psoriasis is a heat-related condition in true medicine systems like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. The older systems that predated, we're just going to farm you off to pharmaceutical companies, surgery, and put you in our scanning machines. Okay. So as a little girl, I began learning the art form of healing. The art form meaning that you know how to observe and be very, very present and aware so you can hear the real, true underpinning. And when you get to that point, you're able to develop a practice of mind-body medicine, which is way above and beyond a yoga mat and meditation. Those are wonderful tools. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga mats, yoga itself, exquisite tools, but they are not even a half of what mind-body medicine truly is. Now, not all clients are willing to actually fully explore mind-body medicine. They're just not comfortable with it. They haven't really developed a sense of comfort with being completely candid with someone. They've gotten used to just kind of tucking it in and just kind of hiding it, sequestering it, and keeping it to themselves. But we all have pain. We have pain. We're disappointed with our relatives. We have communication issues with them. We're frustrated with the fact that they won't change, that they won't embrace, solutions that may be very proactive for them, but they're just not willing to do it. And then when it comes to caring for themselves, they won't put out the money, but they'll wait till the very last moment when they're in an absolute disease state before they'll do anything about it. So when I hear people say, I just can't afford that, sometimes it's true and sometimes it's very subjective, right? So in this case, after about 6 sessions with this client, listening, suggesting removal of just a couple of foods more towards the end, helping him to look at some lifestyle issues. It got really dark in here all of a sudden. The sun went down, so excuse me. I thought it was bright here before. It was bright here before. 90% of the psoriasis was gone within 8 sessions. It wasn't just about listening to his story, but that was very cathartic. It started to move the heart energy. Water is the fluid that moves all the molecules and the ions and helps you to distribute necessary macro and trace elements in the body. Without it, you cannot do much. When we're in a state of pain, emotional pain, we tend to drink less water. So that's why I'm kind of forcing myself to have more water here in my, if I can show you, I guess it's going to blank it out because I created this image of an AI psoriasis here. Psoriasis is internal heat. Psoriasis is pain. Not always. Sometimes it's just related to diet. Sometimes it's related to mind-body issues like pain and trauma, stress. Other times it's related to some of the elements, and so that's why I like to have the HTMA, the KPU, the time to sit down and hear your story. And if you can invest in 8 or 10 sessions, I'm probably not a good fit for you, unless you just want to see your HTMA. But medicine is an art form. It's something I began learning as a very, very little girl at the age of 4, was to listen, learn, be very present, understand, understand what is going on with that individual with pinpoint precision, like a hawk looks down at its prey, right? And it's got pinpoint precision and it dives down into it. So in the art form of medicine, you need to have pinpoint precision to hear that exact word that client uses, that exact way that they start to change their body language when they talk about something. Read the lines on the face, which is you can be taught by learning Ayurveda. Chinese medicine will teach you so much more. And then it's an amalgamation of all of these things that you become your own unique artist, your own unique medicine person, which is different than becoming a doctor, which is different than memorizing all the Latin names for everything, knowing to the nth degree everything about anatomy and physiology, which is wonderful, but it's not everything when it comes to healing. Knowing which drug you can go to because you pop open your laptop and you say, well, you've got 10 different protocols. I'll choose this one. Well, maybe they choose to that one, made that choice for many years because they were getting rewarded with vacations and monetary, remunerations. So that's what I had to share today was we use mind-body medicine for this particular case. We don't for everyone. Not everyone's a good fit for it. Not everyone understands what mind-body medicine truly is. But you'll find that it's checked on my wellness form, and most people have come back and said, I don't really understand what mind-body medicine is. Well, how would you? How could you? Your naturopaths don't typically understand it. Your functionals don't typically understand that. They're looking for, what does the test tell me? And I'm a different animal. Just a different animal, that's all. So thank you for joining me, and I hope this has been meaningful. Don't think that you can't heal yourself, because you can, but you might need a little bit of guidance to help you to understand, overstand what is truly happening on the metabolic level as a methylator, because you may have had a whole lifetime starting off with ultra-processed food, baby food, formula, and Cheetos and Funyuns and Cheerios and Captain Crunch, rather, not Dr. Crunch, Captain Crunch, and all those different highly, highly processed foods that have now damaged your system, and you can repair it. So thank you for joining me, and you have a wonderful day.